Had over 10,000 troops, more than 200 military flights. The Caribbean Sea has never seen a buildup like this. And yet, tension hangs in every horizon, every radar sweep. On deck, sailors and Marines brace against heat and humidity, eyes scanning for movement, ears tuned to the hum of distant engines. Somewhere beyond the horizon, Venezuelan F-16 patrol nervously, coastal batteries shift positions, and the slightest misstep could ignite a chain reaction that no one wants. This is not a drill. Every vessel, every aircraft, every satellite ping becomes a line in a vast, invisible chess game. Commanders coordinate movements like a maestro conducting a symphony of steel, while analysts track the enemy's every signal. One wrong calculation, one misinterpreted radar return, and the routine patrol that started at dawn could escalate into headlines worldwide. The stage is set. The Caribbean holds its breath. The Southern Caribbean, September 2025. Sunlight glints off turquoise waters, but beneath the surface lies a tense theater of strategy and power. From the U.S. Navy's perspective, the region is a carefully monitored grid of shipping lanes, air corridors, and coastal choke points. Satellite imagery feeds into command centers in real time, showing the movement of Venezuelan patrols, civilian traffic, and potential threats. On the ground, Puerto Rico has reopened key bases, turning them into staging grounds for amphibious forces, helicopters, and tactical air units. The U.S. deployed an amphibious assault group, including Iwo Jima and 22nd MEU units, supported by guided missile destroyers like the USS Jason Dunham and the USS Gravely. P-8 of Poseidon's patrol overhead, their sensors scanning for anything unusual, while MQ-9 Reapers feed intelligence back to Southern Command. Marines practice beach insertions, while Little Birds and MH-60s practice rapid response maneuvers under the watchful eye of combat controllers. Meanwhile, Venezuela adjusts. Coastal batteries reposition. IGLA-S teams, supported by Russian advisors, test radar sweeps. F-16 pilots fly low-pattern training flights along the northern coastline, each movement recorded, monitored, and analyzed. Diplomats watch nervously as regional allies weigh in. Every action, every scan, every engine hum contributes to a subtle, escalating tension. A chessboard where stakes are measured not in miles, but in milliseconds and decisions. The Caribbean is alive, and no one is blinking. At the heart of this unfolding tension are the people and units whose decisions could tip the balance. On the U.S. side, the bridge crew of the USS Jason Dunham monitors every radar sweep, every communication burst. Officers and sailors coordinate with Southern Command analysts, ensuring that every move is deliberate, measured, and within the rules of engagement. The Seahawk crews hover above, sensors locked on the horizon, ready to relay thermal imagery or act if a threat emerges. P-8, A and MQ-9 operators translate infrared data, radio chatter, and vessel movements into actionable intelligence, feeding real-time updates into the command network. Opposite them, Venezuelan pilots and coastal defense teams respond to the presence of U.S. forces. F-16. A pilots, many trained decades ago on Cold War-era tactics, maneuver over Caribbean waters under the watchful eye of Russian advisors. Onshore, IGLA-S and coastal battery crews track every signal from the U.S. fleet, testing reaction times and readiness. The stakes are immense. A single misread signal could escalate into a regional incident, a political flashpoint, or worse. Beyond hardware and flight paths, human judgment, restraint, and split-second decisions define the edge of conflict. The Caribbean becomes a theater where experience, nerves, and discipline weigh just as heavily as missiles, radars, or ships. The tension on the water thickens as the USS Jason Dunham maintains its patrol. Radar sweeps capture multiple fast-moving blips. Two Venezuelan F-16s approach low over the waves, engines screaming, wings cutting through the Caribbean sun. Their maneuvers are deliberate, close passes meant to intimidate, test reaction times, and gauge the destroyer's readiness. The deck crew braces, hands hover near controls, eyes flick between optics and consoles. Every approach vector is logged, every speed adjustment noted. Below decks, engineers ensure that the ship's electronic warfare suite is fully operational. The AN/SLQ-32 hums softly, intercepting every radar pulse emitted by the Venezuelan jets. Each pulse, each chirp is analyzed in real time, feeding a growing digital picture of the adversary's systems. A single misfire, a wrong move, or a misinterpreted radar sweep could ignite a catastrophic escalation. But the crew holds steady. The F-16s bank sharply, closing to within 1,500 meters of the destroyer, testing how close they can push without triggering defensive measures. The Seahawk hovers, camera and thermal sensors capturing every deck movement on the Venezuelan jets. Onshore, coastal batteries activate tracking radars, scanning the horizon, though none are authorized to fire. Every second stretches into eternity. The approaching jets are more than hardware. They are signals, probes, and a test of discipline. The U.S. crew's restraint contrasts sharply with the Venezuelan pilot's aggressive posturing. Each decision, each adjustment is a dance between provocation and control. This field engagement is not just about presence. It's about collecting intelligence under pressure, demonstrating capability without crossing the threshold of war. The Caribbean becomes a living chessboard, every blip a piece, every maneuver a potential game changer. Back in the Combat Information Center, the rhythm of the sea is mirrored by the digital pulse of the ship's systems. Radar screens flicker with blips, radio chatter hums through secure channels, and every signal from the approaching F-16 is logged with precision. Officers track the jet's speed, altitude, and vector, while analysts dissect radar emissions, infrared signatures, and comms patterns. Each data point feeds into a growing mosaic of Venezuela's aerial capability. From Washington to the Caribbean, analysts monitor the engagement in near real time. Satellite feeds overlay shipboard sensors, giving commanders a layered picture of the unfolding scenario. The mission isn't simply to survive the flyby. It's to extract maximum intelligence while maintaining absolute restraint. Algorithms analyze frequency hopping, radar pulse intervals, and communication protocols, building a digital fingerprint of the adversary's systems. The tension in the CIC is palpable. Operators know that any miscalculation could escalate into kinetic action, yet they work deliberately, systematically, translating every movement into actionable insight. A single jet banking too sharply, a radar spike misread, could have forced a defensive response. Instead, discipline dominates. Commanders issue quiet updates to higher headquarters, mapping potential responses while maintaining ambiguity for the Venezuelans. Every decision is both defensive and offensive in its own way, observing without triggering, recording without warning. By the end of the pass, the ship has captured a trove of intelligence. Radar signatures, infrared heat profiles, and communications metadata. The Venezuelan pilots have unknowingly exposed the weaknesses and characteristics of their aircraft, all without a shot fired. As the Venezuelan F-16s complete their final low passes, the moment of maximum tension peaks. One jet climbs aggressively, banking sharply toward the destroyer, its radar briefly locking onto the ship's signal. Hearts race on the bridge. Operators keep fingers poised, but weapons remain in safe mode. At that precise instant, the ship's systems record the full spectrum of the jet's emissions. Radar sweeps, communication bursts, and infrared signatures are captured in high fidelity, each pulse a data point feeding intelligence analysts ashore. The pilots believe they are intimidating the U.S. crew, but they have inadvertently exposed the vulnerabilities of their aircraft systems. From the air, the P-8 Poseidon monitors the engagement, overlaying its ISR feed with satellite imagery. Commanders note every maneuver, every engine throttle adjustment, translating it into predictive models of Venezuelan tactical behavior. The American team has turned a high-risk encounter into a decisive collection operation. Even as the jets begin to peel away, the tension doesn't fully release. Each second mattered. A single misinterpreted radar return or a rushed defensive response could have escalated the encounter into a kinetic strike. Yet, restraint holds, and in that restraint lies victory. The U.S. has achieved maximum intelligence gain with zero expenditure of ordnance. The climax is clear. Control over the battlefield doesn't always come from firepower, but from discipline, observation, and superior information. The Venezuelan F-16s finally disengage, banking away over open water, leaving the USS Jason Dunham unscathed. On deck, the tension slowly fades, replaced by the quiet satisfaction of a mission executed perfectly. Every radar ping, every infrared trace, and every communication burst has been captured, logged, and analyzed. A treasure trove of electronic intelligence. In Washington, analysts begin processing the incoming data. Detailed profiles of the Venezuelan F-16's radar behavior, communication patterns, and flight signatures allow for near-instant identification in future encounters. What was meant to be a show of force has inadvertently strengthened U.S. situational awareness and operational readiness. The human element is clear. Restraint, discipline, and adherence to rules of engagement prevented a potential crisis. A single premature reaction could have escalated tensions into open conflict. Strategically, the incident reinforces the doctrine that the most effective weapons are often invisible. Patience, observation, and superior intelligence. In modern naval operations, the victory isn't measured in missiles fired, but in the knowledge gained and the conflicts avoided.